Here's how to buy some dirt cheap property in the great state of Texas. We're talking houses for little as $5,000. So of course we need to wear the hat today. So have you ever wondered when you see people on TV or, hear of great deals like super cheap properties as little as 5,000 or 2,000? Well, today we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it in the great state of Texas. So if you've ever wanted to get into real estate, this is definitely a video, a live stream that you want to tune into, that you want to take some notes on, because we're going to talk about ways to buy properties 50, 60, sometimes as much as 90% below market value, which makes this accessible for beginners to get into real estate. As we know, with inflation, the price of real estate through the roof. So there is one place where you can get some of the best deals of your lifetime if you know where to go. And the nice thing is these days we're going to be able to do this from home. So I felt it's fitting. Obviously, we need to wear the cowboy hat here. And I'm going to introduce now my business partner, Mr. Josh Blanchard. Josh, how you doing today?
Hey, doing well. Thanks for the intro, Dustin. Pleasure to be here.
And Josh just has a new baby that just came out. How many days old is this baby, Josh?
Thank you. He came out on Sunday. So what are we, like 5, 4? Nice. I don't know what day it is.
And your average amount of sleep has been how long?
You know what? Probably getting like that 3, 4. Batting,
nice.
About that.
Excellent. So we're excited. Josh is here. His cowboy hat is on the way. We have some Texas trips planned coming up. So we're excited. We're going to do some deep dives into Texas. It doesn't matter where you're at as far as, if you live in Texas or don't live in Texas, it's a great spot to buy properties because a lot of this stuff nowadays is online. So anybody that's tuning in, ask us some questions on the live stream. As far as that goes, we can answer them. And then from there, leave us a question in the comments if you're watching the replay. Josh, I'm going to grab the screen here one sec. Or no, we'll grab the screen. But I just want to share a couple facts as far as like why Texas is a great place for investing if you're interested. We got one of the strongest economies in the U.S. There's lots of industries moving there. Agriculture, lots of booming hubs for startups. Lots of people are going. Low taxes in Texas, as we can see. What's his name? Elon Musk is moving stuff there because of the tax things. And lots of friendly people, affordable costs of living, great food scene, and strong education through their institutions. So it is a great spot to find some properties and find some smoking deals as far as that goes, let alone the sports teams and all that. So what we want to do is we're just going to crack right into it, jump to the computer here, and we'll show you some of these properties as we have auction trips lined up. We're going to walk you through some of the process here as far as what we go through and find some of these cheap properties. And let's light up the questions. Ask us any question you have about this. We shall go for a little while, answer questions in between. So Josh, we're going to take over the screen here and we shall find some of these cheap properties as of right now.
Okay,
there
nice.
We go.
Yeah, so this is Fort Worth, Dallas, and this is where you can see everything. I've created a filter already because if you don't create a filter, you might just spend some time looking at properties that aren't even going to the auction. So what we're looking at is January 7th, 2025. So if you're watching this right now, you can make plans to attend. You can do research like we're doing research right now and try to scoop up some deals. And then what I've also got here is another filter scheduled for auction. So if it's canceled, then we're just going to leave that alone, just looking at stuff that is currently scheduled. And this is going to update and keep updating in the next 2 weeks or so, upcoming to the auction. And you'll see stuff even drop off right before the auction. And so really someone could literally pay the taxes, a couple minutes before and get that sale wiped. However, that is how it used to be when they did it live in person. So that might not be the case, actually. It might be a little different. We'll continue on. Let me show you something that was extremely appealing. Let's see. Here it is right here. So this has a minimum bid of, yes, this one. This is kind of hard to believe, but this has a minimum bid of $2,654.86. And right now you've got the adjudged value being $67,500. Now the thing about the adjudged value is this could be relatively accurate. This may not be accurate. This may not take into account like new comps. So you always want to do your due diligence and see if there's any kind of error there. I mean, ideally, if you've got something that is worth 67 and it's actually worth, like 120, that's something that you would want to know, right? So let's go ahead. Let's take that address. Yeah, it's got an opening bid of $2,000, which is pretty wild. Let's just go ahead and throw that into Google. And there you go. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,000 square feet. They're saying 169K, sorry, 159K. But we take that with a grain of salt. Always do our own due diligence. This estimate is something that we want to verify ourselves, looking at comps, property that sold in the past few months, similar properties at that. But I mean, that right there is pretty outrageous, especially in a hot market. So looking at the numbers, I mean, like under $3,000, we're in the ballpark of 159. That's pretty wild. And so there's a lot of due diligence that you can do. There's a lot of research, and you can get into the weeds with this stuff. But I mean, really, you can just start doing some due diligence and some light stuff, looking at comps, and because again, a lot of these may drop off before. So 2 weeks in advance, that's not really the time to get going too in depth, because you can also look up the case number here. All of this information is available to you, which is pretty incredible. So you can see this whole thing from beginning to end. And Texas is a really great place to start to learn and try this stuff out, because so much of this information is available online, which is pretty cool.
Nice. And one of the really cool things is, remember, Texas is always going to be the first Tuesday of the month is when the auctions are. So we have a couple really good opportunities right now that are coming up. So gearing up for these sales, if you look at your map, so the first Tuesday of the month is going to be January 7th, which is great. So it's coming up right after New Year's. And a lot of these sales can have a lot of opportunity because it's after a holiday. So a lot of the times people are still getting what do you call it? They're getting caught up after the auction. People with money like to go, they like to travel. So a lot of the times that can mean there's less competition at these tax sales. And then from there, more properties can slip through the cracks as far as things showing up at the tax auction. So it is a really good time to go. And, that might even be your excuse for not going to one of these sales. Like, and that's exactly why you should be going to one of these auctions, is because, first off, it's an amazing way to get some super cheap property. And just a couple insights. First off, if you like this stuff, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. If you're liking this video, ask us a question in the comments, or if you're watching this live, we're going to answer questions that come up as we go. But coming back to, some of the expectations around this, right? So we're saying, find some properties under $5,000. Now, is that going to be every property? No. Some of you guys might end up going to, 4 or 5 of these sales. Maybe you don't ever get anything at the first 5 or 6 sales, but on the 7th or 8th, maybe you pick up like 2 or 3 properties. I know there's been times where, Josh, you've been on the road for a string of 5, 6 auctions and you haven't gotten anything.
Yeah, that's right. Doing a tour around like Michigan and a couple places in northern Ohio, and then all over there on the east. Yeah, and then just hitting some gold grand slams, home runs at another auction in southern Ohio. So it happens.
Yeah, like part of the game here is that if you're going to get cheap property, there's an uncertainty principle that's involved in this. However, if you stick with this stuff and just take consistent action, you're going to get great property. So there's been times we've went to 5, 6 sales in a row, and then we've got something at every sale. But then sometimes you don't get anything. And the biggest mistake that you can make is by judging the entire industry based off the one sale that you went to. That's always a huge mistake as far as tax liens and tax deeds. And that's what we should mention here is for anybody tuning in, we deal with distressed properties, the government foreclosed sales, the government seized properties, tax liens, tax deeds are what we like to specialize in. And it's just an amazing opportunity for an unconventional way to get some cheap real estate so that you can get started in the business, start flipping properties, and have a lot of fun while you're doing it, because there are very few outlets or places where you can get such cheap properties. So for anybody tuning in, remember, we always give away the ABCs of tax lien and deed investing. It is a beginner starter guide to get you guys going. We used to sell it. We give away the tax deed directory All of this stuff is in the description below, totally free. So we walk you through all the sheets and the research and things. So coming back to research, so Josh, we're gearing up. We got a bunch of sales coming up this year that we're going to be going to in Texas as well. So maybe Josh, if we explore a little further, let's take this property we have for an example. If we can walk them through some of the things they need to do as they're preparing for, looking at some of these, bidding on some of these, and maybe you're going in person, or maybe it's going to be an online auction.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the biggest preparation that you could do is starting with the rules, right? And so, a question might be, if I go to the auction in Texas, I attend this, I pick up this house, I get it for, like 10 cents on the dollar, am I able to move in the next day, or what can I do with it? Right. And so one of the reasons that Texas is so great is it's really unique as far as tax deed sales go. And so if you do buy a property, right away, you're actually able to have rights to the home. And so there is a redeemable deed there that the homeowner has about 6 months, maybe up to 2 years, to redeem the property, but you actually start having the rights right away. So if you buy something, you can start cash flowing it, start getting rent right away. But yeah, let's share that screen again. Let's dive into this one that we had found. Yeah, the 2,654. We'll look here. Okay, perfect. So if we take that address, or we could also take the case number, we can click more details. You can see right there, you can search by the case number, and that's going to bring up a lot of the information that as far as how this started, because it is a typical foreclosure. And so just like a mortgage foreclosure, it's the same process done through court, or it might be done through third-party attorneys. It could be done with the county themselves. And you can also see that this is a homestead. So this is a really, really important rule. And this just applies, for the most part to Texas, where if you buy this house, the homeowner is actually going to have up to 2 years that they can redeem this property. And so if they redeem it within the first year, that's going to be a 25% interest penalty on top of what you paid. So if you get this for $10,000, that's going to be, they have to pay $10,000 plus 25% of that. So $2,500. Now, if they redeem in the second year, since it's a homestead property, they actually have to pay a 50% interest penalty on top of what you paid. So it's pretty steep. Chances are that if you get a homestead property, you're just going to have your money tied up for 2 years, but they most likely will not redeem. And you can see it's sold subject to 2023, 2024 taxes. You got a legal description there, and you got some information. But what you really want to do is look this up, look this case number up. You want to make sure that what you're getting is what you see. There's been a lot of times, like there's a pretty famous story of someone paying full price for what they thought was a house, it looked like this, but there was actually nothing there, and that property had been demolished just a couple months before. And so that's why you always want to do your due diligence, make sure you don't get something like that. But we got a pretty big difference here, right, between the adjudged value and what Zillow is saying that it's worth. And so this is something that anybody can do for free, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to look at our own comps and see if we can make sense of this vast difference between the county saying 60 and then Zillow saying 160. So let's look at property that has sold. That's how we do comps. And the first thing you're probably going to notice is, oh dear, this is all blank, right? Now, if we go for sale, we got numbers, right? We got 265, 53, 199K. But the moment we click sold, so how can we see what these properties actually sell for? Now, the reason you can't see is because this is a non-disclosure state. So this information is only accessible to realtors in the MLS.
So Josh, as far as the disclosure versus non-disclosure, can we break that down super quick?
Yeah. So non-disclosure means you can't get access to this information. So the realtors hoard it and it's not available to the public. Now, if we go to a disclosure state, a lot of other states, you can just go ahead and you're going to see the actual sales price right here, just like you see the for sales price right here. So that's the big difference. Now, obviously, if you're coming in and you want to look at a whole bunch of properties, it's not going to be, a realtor's not going to be super happy if you call them up and say, hey, I'm an out-of-state investor and I'm looking at 57 properties for the upcoming auction in Dallas, and I'd like you to give me like 3 recent comps in the past 6 months that are similar properties. If you could just, get to that, right? So let me show you a way for free that you can actually go ahead and look at comps in a non-disclosure state. So why don't we get a thumbs up if we're into that? If we're looking for free comps, again, normally you have to get this from realtors. Let me show you a free option here. This is called propwire.com. You can actually find real estate information that MLS agents have or realtors have in Texas. So let's go ahead. Let's grab that property address again. And free property data, just like it says. So if you're watching this video and you didn't know how to get comps in Texas, this alone is pretty sweet. All right, so there we go. Now, okay, we're getting 200K from PropWire. So obviously, we want to go ahead, do our own due diligence on that. We can see a couple things here. It's an absentee owner, so they don't live there. They bought it for cash. It's free and clear, and it's got high equity. So 100%. There's no mortgages, anything like that. A lot of times, if you got a property that has a mortgage on it, it's not going to actually make it. So you can see the name, you can see their own properties. Holy Moses. Okay, here we go for comps. So here's our subject property right there. So right now you can see the filter sold in last year within half a mile. Then you can come in here and you can actually start to narrow this down. So let's go ahead and do that. Anybody remember what the Bed Bath was? I just got to go back to get it. I think it was a 3.2, maybe. Yeah, 3.2, 1,000 square feet. Okay, let's go 3, 2, and let's keep the square feet, within reason. So how about plus 10%? That's 200 square feet. Okay, right here you can see 178, 131, 221. And then what it actually does, which is really cool, is it shows you the price per square foot. So it just simply means that this property has got 1,933 square feet. It's worth $92 a square foot. So you take 92, multiply by that, which gives you the selling price. This one's actually a lot lower, 131. So what we would want to do is go ahead, click on that. This is actually recent enough that you may be able to still see some photos or have a listing description, which would be great. And then you got a 221. So, we want to take it a step further, but you'd want to click on all of these. And it's pretty easy to see from here that, this is definitely worth a lot more than 67. And we've got comps, stretching up into the 200K range. So getting this anywhere near this bid price would be amazing.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where if you go to these auctions long enough, things will come up. So, the probability here, there's a chance it gets bid up to market value. There's a chance it gets bid up past market value. There's a chance it goes for opening bid. There's a chance it goes for $10,000. That's really the name and the fun of this business. And that's why we're always talking about really being consistent going to these, right? Because when you think about it, these sales are the first Tuesday of every month. So for example, when we go, we start to look at the list around now to kind of see what's coming out for these properties. And at the end of the day, as far as the amount of time that it takes, once you kind of come up to speed on these sales, maybe it takes you 4 days of work in total. If you add up some of the hours spent before you go to the auction doing your research. And then from there, if you go in person, you can fly there in an evening. And then what we do is Sunday, Monday, we go look at the properties, and Tuesday we bid. Okay. So we're 3 days in, you add in the research. So, call it 3.5 days by the time you add up your hours of research and then go bid. Right. So, over the course of a year, even if you get a property at 1 in 4 of these sales at a smoking deal, it's still absolutely worth it. Right. And it really does allow a beginner investor to get in the game with a relatively small budget, depending on the sale, right? And one of the big things, the cool thing about Texas is, some fun facts here. It's obviously the largest, one of the largest, well, it is the largest, 254 counties in Texas, and they're all having sales on the first Tuesday. The cool thing too is, like Josh was saying, you get the deed that day, but it does have a 6-month redemption period. And during that redemption period, if it's vacant, you can rent it out, you can collect rent, which is great. But coming back to one of the first things you should do if you win is get insurance on the property in case it burns down. So Josh, the name of that company again is?
Yeah, we've used Farmer Brown Insurance a ton. And so, that might be $1,000 for vacant property insurance for the whole year. And that's just going to insure your property. We've had people vandalize properties before, and we've been able to get like 60, 70, 80K from an insurance claim. And, let's say something else happens that you get insurance for, like something related to nature or something like that is covered. That's a really great way to be protected. And you definitely want it. It's something that is very low cost, especially to the value of these properties, right? So that's Farmer Brown Insurance, vacant property insurance.
Nice. Farmer Brown Insurance. And then from there, you can be using, if you want, tax title services, if you're wanting to clear the title on these. And part of the reason is because if somebody wants to come in and put financing on it, we got a great video on our channel with tax title services. You can go search it. And then they break you down how they get you the clear title on these properties. However, if you're doing a quick sale, you can still always just do a quick claim deed and really be off to the races. A couple very important things to keep in mind is always figure out what type of payment they accept, right? So whether it's cash or cashier's checks, or, most of the time in Texas, you have to go pay immediately. And, it's not exactly comfortable walking around with, pockets full of cash, which we've done many times.
Yeah, we did that in downtown Memphis.
How much did you have on you that day?
Good. I think it was like 50K, 60K. And it's just, that's a big stack of money. And I'm getting an Uber. And I'm just like, this is not the way to do this.
Yeah. One of the best ways to do it is to get cashier's checks made out to the county ahead of time. So that's what we do. And get different increments, right? Like 1,000, get 5 $1,000 ones, or 5 $5,000 ones, and then a couple for 500. And then they will send you back the difference. And this way, if you get in a argument with somebody in traffic and then they shake you down, you just cancel those cancel those checks. But it's super important to find out what form of payment that they take. The online auctions, a lot of the times you put money in and they'll give you a certain amount of time to, fund the rest, or they'll withdraw it from your account. And the cool thing these days is a lot of the counties in Texas are now doing things online. So like we have students who go, say, for example, to Harris County, but at the same time, they're on their iPad, they're on their phone, and they're doing online auctions at the same time. So, always the first Tuesday of the month is exciting for us and our business, as our students and things like that go to these sales. So, if you guys are ever interested in that, you can go in the description below. We do take folks to sales. Just go through, you can book a call. So if you guys are ever interested in actually joining us in person at one of these auctions, there's a link below in the description. You can schedule a call with us and we can discuss bringing you on. So for example, we're going in January. I think it's already filled up, or maybe there's like 2 spots left. Josh, do you recall from the meeting today? Or when was it?
Yeah, it's about 1 or 2.
Yeah. So, and that's not just the, 1 or 2 spots like this. The cool thing, if you join us at an auction, is the fact that, we can only bring so many people on the road with us. So it's super cool. A lot of real estate folks do a seminar, put you in a room, and then you forget everything. So we like to do hands-on stuff. We're there, we're bidding with you, we're bidding with the students as well. It is a super fun time. So if you guys are ever interested in doing that, just go book a call below, and we can chat with you about that as well. And for anybody tuning in, we're talking about how to get some of these cheap properties. This year, we're going to be going to a whole bunch of the Texas sales coming up, and we're just kind of gearing up. So I think the other lists are coming out in a day or two. We have the Dallas list that is here right now. and just kind of getting everything in order. Another thing that's important is if you live in the county you're bidding on, make sure you don't have any outstanding taxes in that county, because it can void the bid and get you in trouble. So Josh, there's not a lot of questions here, but we can go through. If anybody has questions, you can put them in the comments below the video. If you're watching this and you like it, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up on this video if you like what you're seeing. Helps you, even if you're subscribed, sometimes you don't see it, but if you thumbs up, it will show up. And subscribe if you like this stuff. We try to bring you the latest information. Let's see here. Congratulations, Josh. Let's see, what part of Texas? So we like Dallas, we like Houston, things like that. But we've been to many counties there. We like, because if we're going to travel, we like counties that have a lot of volume. Thank you everybody for saying hello. Wonderful comment for Corey and the stash guy in the Hawaiian shirt. I'm actually going to send him this comment, and he will have a good chuckle, as his mustache game is very, very strong. Josh had a strong mustache game, but then it just kind of filled in. I think you should bring it back for the auction.
Oh yeah, let's
Bring
do
it
it
back. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the best mustache game. Let's see here. So back to, what website was that, Josh? If we can post, I think we can actually, I can post it here in the comments, perhaps.
Oh, nice. Yeah, taxsales.lgbs.com.
Yeah, where are we here? Where the heck did it go? Yeah, taxsales.lgbs.com. Here we go.
Sorry.
I'm just going to post it in the description here, so everybody can go and check that out if they want, which I recommend that you do. Start to get a pulse on it, right? That's really what this is. When you think about how much time you've put into your job and all that, if you put a fraction of that time into this stuff, you'll be in good shape. Let's see. The URL is posted below. Let's see. Right now, I believe there's around 35 in inventory. Let's see. Mississippi, they can void the sale. Let's see. Mississippi, they try to void the sale. I'm currently going to, because the resident doesn't want to leave. Yeah, the resident can contest the sale, but most of the time they need to pay the taxes if they want it to come off the sale. Super good question there. Let's see. Loving the info. Awesome. Let's see, for out of area investors, I'm going quick. So if you guys have more questions, just pop them in and we'll zip through them here, and we'll get back to looking at some of these. Let's see here. Oh, David, you got a sweet picture. Rollerblading or roller skating. That's super sweet, man. Some of those roller skate moves are pretty awesome. Let's see here. So for out of the area investors who are using We Go Look, for out of area investors. So yeah, We Go Look or TaskRabbit is also a good site as well to use. So if you go to taskrabbit.com, you can see quite a bit of stuff here. TaskRabbit, you probably can't see it, but that's a good site to get things done, get pictures and all that sort of stuff. Welcome everybody. If you're just joining, we were looking at some properties. A house here, opening bid was like $2,700. Value is over 150. Super cool. And we like to just kick into these, show you guys where they're at, so you can go and start to find these for yourself and finally get into real estate. Texas is one of our favorite places because they have the most properties, they have the most auctions, right? It's the largest state, which is great. Let's see. The auctions are both online and in person for the exact same properties. Some places, yes, but normally it'll either be an in-person or an online auction. Okay. Good questions, guys. Starting to roll in. Very awesome. If you're liking this stuff, do us a favor, hit thumbs up, subscribe. Thumbs up helps get this out to other people who can see it as well. And that's super awesome. And go check out some of the other videos if you have a chance, because you'll see below in the comments, there's lots of people getting these deals. For example, we just had a comment that was sent. I always get the whenever people are getting properties, Josh, below the videos as we do the comments, I either see them or it's sent to me. So I'm just going to pull up this one here. So I don't know if you can see this one. Let's see. This is one of the comments that came in here. Josh, can you read that? Can you see it?
I can't on this screen.
No, you can't see it anyways. It says, heck yes, just got my first check from Polk County. We're off to the races. Keep the amazing job up. So, they're not even a student. They're just going off of what they're learning in these videos. We try to give you guys as much possible. So that's why for anybody joining, if you haven't got this yet, this is like the gold standard book for getting started in tax liens and deeds. Government seized property. It's totally free. We have our property research sheets in here. How to do comps. And then from there, we have the directories, which are in the description. We have the tax lien directory and the tax deed directory. So you can literally just go, say, for example, you want to be in Delaware. Okay. Delaware, tax deed state, redeemable interest rate, 60 days from the day of the sale. We have all the phone numbers in here. Like, for example, here, let's see. Yeah. And a number of counties. 159, which is great. Georgia, right? 159 counties, 20% premium bid. So all of this is there, guys. This is totally free. We used to sell it. And basically what we do is we give it away. So if you guys just want to take what you learned from this channel and what we give away, there's plenty of information. But then for anybody who wants like one-on-one help, we do that as well. We do live auction trips. And we do like one-on-one coaching and mentoring. So there's a link below in the description. You'd speak to us. We'd help you find the properties, find the best places to go, and try to save you some trial and error if that's up your alley, right? It's no different than going to a restaurant and seeing the chef selling a cookbook, right? So, some people are like, why do you guys sell information? It's like, we do the real estate. We have the YouTube channel. And it's just one of those things to where YouTube starts off as kind of like an experiment, and then people start tuning in. And it's awesome because we end up teaming up with lots of people on deals and things like that as well, which is great. Let's see here. Good questions coming in. Welcome, everybody. What's your opinion on paying tax? I'm paying a tax deed with a business credit card. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if, it's a zero interest, or, you can use the bank's money to buy these properties. I think that's a great way to go. There's places, a couple ways to do it. You can, get an advance on the credit card, but be responsible, right? Like, if you have a family, don't max it out and, be in a do or die situation. Make sure to be responsible. With that, Josh, do you remember the names of some good credit cards that people can use for property?
I mean, there's a lot of time too. If you just Google like 0% offers, business credit cards on Google, that'll bring up a lot of great articles, because sometimes it's just for a season. And so it's always constantly updating, but that would be the best way to go.
Nice. Yeah. And then from there, there are definitely counties in like Michigan, in Michigan, that allow you to pay with a credit card, which is cool. Not necessarily Texas allows you to pay with a credit card, just like through the county, but there are some places that do allow you to do that. So that is cool. Let's see here. So next one, do they sell vacant properties on PA tax auctions or with the former owner? So, a lot of the properties going to these will be vacant. Some of them will have a tenant in them. Some of them, maybe the owner lives in them. From there, Josh, what would you say as far as what percentage of the properties we buy have people in them, tenant or owner?
It's not that common. You would find vacant properties more often than properties that have tenants inside of it.
Yeah. So,
but it would also depend on the laws too, or how quickly the county moves. And so like a county that is more generous or gracious, that's going to have more people that will be inside the properties. But, counties that move quickly or that are a bit more aggressive, they may have less.
Yeah. So, a lot of the times it will be vacant. Sometimes there will be a renter in the property paying rent, and they don't know that their rent money isn't going towards the property taxes. So we've had this a few times, Texas sales actually, where we win the bid. There's a renter in the property. We take our deed, show up at the door, knock, knock. Hey, the homeowner lost us at the sale. What's going on? Well, we're the new landlord, and they give us a rent check, that day. So that's super cool as far as Texas goes. But if you ever do have a situation where there is somebody in the property, obviously you start with empathy, right? And say, it's a tough situation. what are your plans, right? And one of the cool things that you can do to just be a good person is let them know that there's an overage they can go collect. So there's a whole business of, it's called tax overages. We're not the hugest fan of them. It takes a lot of work. And the basic premise is this. Let's say this property that we just looked at today, opening bid 2,700, it was valued at 150. Let's say that property sells for $50,000. Okay. In that situation, and I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it won't, maybe it goes for 5K, it could go for opening bid. I'm giving you a hypothetical. So with this situation, let's say it goes for 50 or opening bid 27. That means there is, what is that? $47,000 in excess funds that can actually go back to the homeowner. Now, there's a whole business of people who go and claim that or try to claim that money and keep a portion of it. It's called excess funds, tax sale overages. Maybe you've seen it. There's a lot of people talking about it. And it's like, yes, you can make money doing it, but it is so labor intensive that at the end of the day, you end up making like $20 an hour at the most. From the people that I've seen, there's some big sharks that have massive teams that really dominate a lot of it. But you just have to put yourself in a situation where, think of it like this. You lost a house at a tax sale, you've moved out of the property, and then you just get a strange phone call saying, hey, you're owed money. And you're like, well, what do you mean I'm owed money? Like, well, yeah, you're owed money by the government. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, well, I can't tell you the details. And they don't want to tell you that, hey, that money's sitting there because you would go get it. So then they try to get you into a contract where, you get a percentage of it for getting it for them. When really it's as simple as saying, hey, go get the money because they're entitled to that money. So if you go into a property or you buy it and the homeowner's in there, you say, listen, the opening bid was 2,700. I bought it for 50. You're owed at least, probably $50,000. You can go get it. I can show you where to go to do it. And then they can have a bit of a fresh start, which is great. From there, they might say, well, sure, I would love to leave. However, I have no money, right? So it might take them a couple weeks or months to get that money from the government. And if they say, I have no money, then we'll do something called like cash for keys, where we'll say, okay, how about this? We'll give you $500 today, and we'll give you another 500 once you're out of the property. And generally this works. Josh, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, we usually just look at what market rent is and base the number off of that.
Nice. And then from there, I think we've only really had to do what, 2 evictions?
Yeah, but they were really bad evictions.
These were they tax sale properties? Because basically the sheriff comes and the sheriff moved all their stuff out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a video of it. It's yeah, it doesn't happen that often. It's very out of hundreds of properties. I think we've only had to do it, what, twice?
I think 3 actually sounds about right, because there was the one in Connecticut that took like 8 months. Remember that?
Yeah. Kept going. So at the end of the day, it doesn't happen that often. If you average, for us, it's like 1 in 100 as far as that goes. So getting to it, guys. If you guys are still tuned in, we got a pretty good audience, good questions going. Very awesome. Do us a favor. If you like this stuff, hit the thumbs up button if you like it. If you're first time tuning in, I'm Dustin Hahn. It's my business partner, Josh Blanchard here. We've been doing this stuff now over 10 years, hundreds of properties, hundreds of auctions, and helped thousands of people get into this business as well at the same time. So the channel here is dedicated to helping you guys get into real estate in an unconventional way and use it to springboard if you want to do lots of these deals or do other types. So we're going to take some questions here. Back to it. Applied for a tax deed auction for a tax lien certificate that wasn't redeemed a few years ago. Nice. That's great. So remember, if you buy a tax lien, you can get massive home runs because you're paying the person's taxes. And if they don't pay you back, you can foreclose and get the property for basically the price of the back taxes and then paying out the other 2 places. So this is where you can get, if the property is worth 200 grand, you can literally get it for $5,000-6,000 sometimes. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Paid current taxes 2022. They were owed. Yeah. So good tip here. If you guys are going to an auction, make sure to find out when you bid on the property taxes, does that bring the taxes current, or are you on the hook for other years' taxes? Okay. In that situation, if you are and you want to keep it, you probably have to pay those. But if you're not, then you can just sell it and have that be paid at the time of closing. Let's see. Do these properties have mortgages on them? How would we find that out before bidding? So the cool thing about a tax deed sale, guys, is that the mortgage gets wiped out. So remember, there's this saying in tax liens and deeds, it's he who records first has first right of foreclosure, which means when you go, the land was here first, right? The government created the land and the parcels. So they have the first lien that's attached on that property. We shall call this the house lien. And once again, these are free. We used to do DVDs and now they're on demand. Man, it makes us look old. Similar to the content here, but this stuff is free in the description below. Anyways, this is the land. This is the house and the mortgage that's on it, right? So whoever's foreclosing sends a notification to the next person in line. Say this is the mortgage company. And basically the county says, hey, mortgage company, we haven't been paid taxes. Pay us our taxes or we're going to foreclose and wipe you out. So it is the mortgage companies who are often the largest redeemers of the tax liens and deeds because they don't want to get wiped out. And if they don't pay the taxes, they get wiped out. So that's how that works. But a lot of the times too, these houses might not have mortgages on them as well. Let's see. I was watching a tax sale online. Amazed to see bids go high from random landlocked lots. Yeah. So remember, it's like anything, right? There's going to be people with no money doing weird things. So if you're seeing a trend of properties going too high, then don't go to that county. There's 3,300 counties. We have the phone numbers here for all of them. You guys can focus in and find some. And once again, all of this stuff is in the description below. Somebody was saying earlier, how do we get the book? If you go in the description and click the link, you guys will see a link there to a link tree, and then just get the free book, which you'll be off to the races there. Let's see. Can you buy houses? Can you buy houses before houses sold, like subject to? Yeah, you can definitely buy them before the auction. That's called a pre-auction deal. Often it's a great time to get deals as well. And then you can pitch to them subject to or creative financing as well, as we've done that as well. Let's see. Do you quick flip your tax deeds or do you remodel and get them on the market? So once again, this is going to come back to kind of your strategy and what appeals to you the most. Beware of rehabs, right? If you're going to do it, make sure it's in your own backyard or you're familiar with rehabs because there's a big learning curve when it comes to that. Josh, how many rehabs would you say are under your belt? Like 80, 100?
Yeah, we've done a lot.
Yeah.
We've done a lot over the years.
There's a lot of lessons to be learned there. So, just be super careful. If you're a handyman, you've been doing this stuff, I'll go for it. But if it's your first property, I wouldn't do that. Just flip it. If it's a 100K property, you get it for 10. It needs 30 grand in rehab. Just do a quick flip for, 20 or make 20, 30 grand on it and away you go, or even 10,000 bucks, and turn the money over. Because the other thing is if you remodel it for market value, you're competing against everybody who has a beautiful house. They've lived in it for, 10 years. It's beautiful. It's their pride and joy. So that's what you're competing against. There's an old saying, you want the fast bucks, not the last bucks. Let's see. So this one still has a homeowner in it, as far as I think it was a tax lien, she said, I believe. So if the homeowner's in it, then that's, the strategy you'll take and do the foreclosure process, and then, use the right tact to get them out. Go talk to them, have a conversation. And you can always play a little bit of good cop, bad cop and say, hey, obviously have empathy. I'm sorry about the situation, but the good news, is you're owed this much. If it's a deed sale, if it's a lien sale, that won't be the situation because you're just foreclosing on the lien. So in that situation, you won't have that, ace up your sleeve to help them get the money. However, you can still be, offer a cash for keys situation and go about it that way. Let's see. Yeah, we own the SF Bombers. What? Yeah, we own the SF Bay Bombers also. Yeah, that's as a team, right? Let's see. How close to the auction do we start doing the research? Well, we're doing Texas. We're keeping an eye on it right now. But as it gets close to the auction, things are going to come off the list. So don't start doing super heavy research until close. We got one coming up. Josh, what approach are you taking currently?
Yeah, so auctions Tuesday. We'll start driving properties Saturday, Sunday, and then we'll also be doing title research and things like that. Oh, my bad. That's not it. It's Sunday, Monday. So just full days of driving and then doing title research, doing case records. Because I think someone had mentioned that they're having an issue with the tenant inside the property. And so that's just part of our due diligence, is looking at the case and making sure that everybody who has an interest is notified. That way it's just going to be clean and they can't reverse the sale. But like we did Washington the other day, and that was online, and that was like pretty close to the auction. I think it was like a full day, like 24 hours, and we were driving properties just the day before. But we've also got a lot of experience, and so we're able to quickly search title, look at liens, and do a title search. So if it takes time, then you just want to give yourself more time, of course, and prepare more in advance. But for us, we try to get it as close to the auction as possible.
Nice. Let's see. We had this question, or we covered this a bit earlier. If you guys are just tuning in, definitely go back, watch, follow along, do this stuff step by step. We use Farmer Brown insurance to protect the home if it burns down and to protect our asset that is acquired. Let's see. Do you have to do a quiet title in Texas? It depends on the property, and it depends what it's worth and things like that. On properties where you're going to be into them over the $5,000 mark, it's definitely worth doing with tax title services, but you don't always need to do it. If it's a cheaper property or you find somebody who's good with a quick claim deed, then you don't necessarily need to do it. Let's see.
We got that video on YouTube, right?
We do. Yeah, we got a great property.
Like, those cool things was like kind of like click there.
I can't. That's. I think that happens in the end. I don't know.
Yeah, we got a great video though with tax title services. Way faster, way cheaper.
Yeah. Can you buy properties with a credit card in Texas? Of the places we've researched, I don't see that option. So like in that situation, you buy cash advance on the card, or get a 0% card or something like that. As far as if you're looking to do something in that realm, but obviously do it responsibly is the name of the game there. So right on, folks. Oh, still good questions coming in. Great action tonight. If you research so close to the auction, how do you get current picks and things like that? Well, if you're there in person, we go and obviously take the pictures in person, but you can use like Airtasker or We Go Look and send somebody to do it as well. Let's see. If you have 20K to invest, is it better to max bid a few properties than focus on one? Not exactly. So like I would focus on anything that is below 20 grand and then go that direction. If you get a great property and your max bid's 20 and it's worth 100, you're still in a great game. So, and then you just flip it and move on to the rest. So
yeah,
right on, guys.
We teach people too to like make a max bid sheet so that you walk in, and there's been times that we're with like a certain budget, but we've got our list of properties, and if a property comes up that's within our maximum bid, then we'll just grab it, because you're not sure what's going to happen later, right? You're not sure if you're going to be able to grab that other property you're hoping to get. And sometimes the deal that you think is coming isn't a deal, and the other property you didn't like so much is actually a great deal. But yeah, we teach how to do a max bid sheet so that you can work off this sheet, and it's not based on emotion. It's just based on the numbers.
Excellent. Good stuff. And for everybody here, check out some more of the videos on the channel. We got tons of great information on there for everybody. And, we really try to provide you guys with the stepping stones to do it. So to get the book, that's in the description. It's totally free. It's downloadable, instant access. walks you through this thing step by step, super comprehensive. You get the directory with all the phone numbers to it, the Tax Lien and Deed Investing 101. And of course, if you want to book a call, we can build a strategy for you. Totally free strategy session to help you get started as well. Those generally fill up, so you can book a call below for that. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And what's that, Josh? Oh, I thought you had
I was just coughing.
Off the cold as a baby. Let's get the full meal deal. So we appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight. And if you're watching the replay, ask us a question in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Is the name of the game. One last question: is PA a good state? Yeah, we've done lots in Pennsylvania, and definitely recommend it. So on that note, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao.